Right now, there's all sorts of people working behind the scenes to support victims and first responders who witnessed that carnage in Las Vegas.
And it's something that's all too familiar for a local sheriff who has had to deal with similar incidents involving mass casualties. 24-Hour News 8's Brady Gillum met with Kalamazoo Sheriff Richard Fuller tonight and learned how his office supports victims and first responders after these types of events. Brady.
Well, Brian, Sheriff Fuller knows a thing or two about tragedies in Kalamazoo. He experienced both the Kalamazoo mass shooting as well as the county's deadly bicycle crash.
Events like these have changed the way police respond not only to the events themselves, but what they do after the events.
We're working with the families, and we're working with the victims, and we're working with one another side by side.
Kalamazoo County Sheriff Richard Fuller says there are two groups of trained volunteers who are activated in these types of situations. One group supports the first responders.
So we want people to be able to go home at night after a long, hard shift and be able to deal with what they've seen, what they've heard, and what they've been part of for the day.
A second group works with victims and victims' families.
One of the things that we wanted to do is make sure that we didn't create families, making them victims even more so by dumping some information on them and then walking away.
Fuller says these groups were created several years ago after he saw a need to support first responders and victims.
And we're working with the families, and we're working with the victims, and we're working with one another side by side. And then it was the end of the shift. All right, folks, go home. And we know that those things lead to bad habits.
Kalamazoo has experienced its own dose of tragedies. A mass shooting killed 6 people in early 2016. Just months later, a deadly car crash left 5 cyclists dead. As for what happened in Las Vegas, Fuller says a motive may never be found.
I try to help people understand that no motive is going to be good enough. Nothing's going to come across our desk to have us look at it and go, well, then that makes sense. Because none of this will ever make sense.
Now, Sheriff Fuller told me today that Kalamazoo County works with other counties, so if something happened as big as Las Vegas and Kalamazoo County, other counties would respond to help out. Reporting live in the Kalamazoo studio, Brady Gillum, 24-Hour News 8.